What's up, fellow YouTubers? Okay, so I got another one for you today. This is going to be another automotive maintenance. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to do a brake fluid flush on a vehicle. How often do you need to do it? Geez, I don't know. I would say maybe at least every 30,000 to 40,000 miles would be good. It also kind of depends on time. So brake fluid actually collects moisture over time, and it brings the boiling point down of the brake fluid, which could actually diminish the quality of your braking. So, you know, it's one of those things that you kind of want to do. So this is something you can take to a shop to have done, or you can sit there and do it yourself. I'm going to do it myself because I don't have a lot of money, and because I know how to do it, so I might as well, right? Okay, so the first thing you got to do is you got to locate the brake fluid reservoir. Sorry, I total brain fart on that one. Okay, so the brake fluid reservoir on this vehicle happens to be on the driver's side at the very front, and actually you can tell by the symbol. The symbol kind of indicates what it is. Well, I guess for the most case, you can kind of tell power steering is the same thing. Coolant, you know, that'll be the same thing. It'll have some kind of a warning. But essentially, I'm going to take off the cap here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to gravity bleed this. So gravity bleeding means that you're just going to let gravity do what it does. And that's just push stuff down, I guess. Add a pressure pushing stuff down. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. Okay, so anyways, as you can see inside my reservoir right here, it's a little black. Car's got 60,000 miles. It's 2012 Honda Civic. So we're going to get started. So also, actually, neat little tidbit actually. If you actually happen to look at your reservoir, and you look, so my minimum is actually right here, just below the little seams, and my max is actually right there. So normally you want to have it in the middle as it is, maybe a little higher, 3/4 to the top, you know, to the max line. One of the things that you can actually do is if you actually look at your reservoir and you see that your brake fluid level is a little low, it doesn't always mean that you actually have a leak somewhere or that it's evaporating. You know, sometimes what happens is once your brake pads get real low, it requires more fluid to actually be within the brake lines. So, you know, to take up some of that slack from where the brake pad used to take space. So that also is kind of a really good indicator of maybe you should start checking your brakes. Now, it's not a telltale sign. What you really want to do is take the wheel off and check for yourself. Or have a shop do it. It's up to you. But anyways, we're going to get started on this vehicle and on most vehicles, really. What you want to do is you want to always start at the furthest brake caliper, because you want to start pushing the old fluid out from the back forward. So what that means is if we were to do the left front wheel, the closest to the reservoir itself, essentially what we do is we would take all that dirty fluid and then we would move all the dirty fluid from the back in its space, and essentially wouldn't really clean much, right? So that's why we're going to start at the very far back. Easiest way to know what the furthest point is, it would be on the passenger side rear. Or the right rear, as some people would say. So the way you can tell is if you're looking at your steering wheel right here, the driver's side will be your left, passenger side will be your right, and the rear obviously meaning the back tire. So I'm going to jack this vehicle up. You don't always have to take the wheels off. The brake caliper, the bleeder screw is usually pretty exposed, so all you have to do is really just put some kind of a line on it or something so it doesn't dump out on your rim, or you can do it too. That's up to you. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to jack it up. I'm going to put my line on there, and I'm going to crack it open, and I'm going to show you guys the rest of the process. Right? Let's go ahead, stick around, and let's get to it. Alright, so what I've already done is I put a black hose and I connected it over to the bleeder screw. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's back here. And so what I've done is I put a hose over there so I can drain down to the floor directly. And then I've opened up the bleeder screw already. And from here, you just kind of let gravity do its thing. Uh-oh, hose came off. Okay, back on. So you let gravity do its thing. So another way you could do this is you could also get a vacuum pump and you could vacuum it out by hand. If you want to make that purchase, you don't have to. I like to just do a gravity bleed because I got time. The one thing that you do have to be careful about is you don't want to drain out too much at one time, because as you keep draining out, the fluid up top at the reservoir will actually end up going lower and lower, and if you drain too much out at once, you'll put air in the system, and that's going to give you a soft, mushy pedal, which you don't want. That jeopardizes safety, and then you just have a hell of a time trying to bleed it out. So recommend just doing a little bit at a time, and then just being just aware of what your fluid level is up at the front. So I've already filled up my reservoir to the max level to anticipate it going down. So now I'm draining. If you look over here at my hose, see that it's already actually, well, of course it would stop. No, you can see it dripping. So it's actually dripping down. So that's the fluid that's actually coming out of the system. I do have the car jacked up a little bit, and the reason I have it jacked up is so I can just fit under here. Now, I don't have a jack stand on it, but I don't have my entire body under it either. That is a safety issue, so remember to use jack stands if your car's really low and you're really gonna get under it. I personally just needed to like get a shoulder and my arm in there, but again, you know, use your best judgment on that. It is a safety issue. You don't want the car falling on you. So I'm gonna let this drain for maybe about 30 more seconds, close it up. I'm gonna pump my pedal to make sure that I still have full pressure, and then I'm gonna continue over to the driver's side rear. So we're gonna repeat this process for all 4 calipers, and it's very simple. I mean, you can take it to a shop, but I mean, doing it yourself is so much easier, and it's just costs you a bottle of brake fluid, which cost me $7. So I'm gonna continue doing this, and then we're just gonna, again, just be cautious of the fluid that is in the reservoir right now, and make sure it doesn't get down too low so we don't introduce air in the system. So let's continue on. Alright guys, so we're up to the front. So the only thing different about the front is at least you have the advantage of being able to turn the wheels. So I still have my vehicle jacked up a little bit. I'm on the passenger side front, and this one's actually really easy. This is a 10mm wrench right here. I'm not sure if I mentioned what the rear size was, and if so, I think I may have said 10, but it was an 8mm in the rear. This is a 10mm. I got my hose right here. So I have the steering wheel turned all the way to the right in order to give me a little more access. And as you can see, I'm still dripping over here. So, I mean, everything's going along pretty well, and then as I've been closing off one bleeder valve, I've been going back up and pumping my brakes, making sure everything's still fine, not introducing any air. I've also been like really cautious about making sure that the reservoir itself has stayed full, because I don't want to introduce that air, like I said before. And I hate to keep repeating it, but like, you really don't want to. You're gonna have a bad time if you do. So that's still going. I'm gonna let that go maybe for another minute. So everything's pretty much going according to plan, and it really doesn't take that long to do. So I'm going to continue with this. I'm going to finish up with the driver's side, and then we should be all done. So it's actually very simple. So hopefully you guys can go out there and give it a shot. Yeah, so I'm going to continue letting this go. I'm going to do the other side, and then it won't be too much longer now before I go out for a test drive and just, verify that everything's fine. I'm going to check up with you guys in a little bit. Alright, so I finished up on the last wheel, and essentially I'm all completed now. So if you can see the reservoir, the brake fluid looks a lot cleaner. It looks like there's a little bit of like a gum up or something that's, not a gum up, but like, it still looks a little dirty inside the reservoir. I did clean the outside of the reservoir up. I mean, other than that, that's pretty much it. I just have to go test drive it, make sure it's all done. But I mean, we got a whole bunch of brand new brake fluid in there, which will last us, a couple thousand more miles. Well, not 1,000, like, another 30,000, 40,000 miles before I do it again. But other than that, I am completely done. Now, I will let you know that I did do this the hard way. Gravity bleeding takes the longest. You also have the option of having a friend pump the brakes, and then you will have your friend hold the brakes down, the brake pedal down. You open up the bleeder screw and let it drain out that way. Tighten up the bleeder screw, and then, have them pump it again. That's the easiest way. But you know what? I did it the hard way. And granted, once you know the hard way, everything else is just, that much easier. Other than that, I am done. It's been another great video. If you have any questions about it, feel free to let me know. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you, all the viewers. Whether it's a simple video, some kind of technical video. I haven't made a technical video, actually. Well, nothing too technical. So, just regardless, thank you all for watching. And I hope to catch you all in a future video. Until then, remember to go out, have fun, and enjoy what you do. Peace.